What's up, Facebook Tribe? We are live in the UMS Movement Mastermind for your daily dose of morning motivation. Today we're talking about the strength in community and why it's important in a time like this. We're also doing a continuation of the extreme ownership concept, and we're going to give some shout outs for people that we've seen taking action on this. And we're doing a live Q&A. We're going to answer some really, really good questions from our UMS online coaching tribe. All that and more coming up in just a sec.
Hey everyone, in case we haven't met, my name is Rad, that's my brother Yanni. We're the co-founders of Unity Gym and the co-creators of the UMS, the Unify Movement System, where we turn driven people into superhumans. If you're new and you don't know how we do that, or you're wondering what I'm talking about, basically we've created a program that has a balance between strength and flexibility. It's quite unique and it delivers superhuman results. If you want to know how we do it and you're not already in our ecosystem, you can download one of the free blueprints, the Flexibility, Strength or Nutrition Blueprint. Now, today, among many other things, we're going to be going a little bit deeper into our 30-day UMS challenge because tomorrow marks the first day of the second week. We threw this challenge out last Tuesday. So for those of you that have been participating, hopefully you've been meditating daily. I know that I have, using the Sam Harris Waking Up app. For those of you that haven't, what are you doing? There's never been a better time to learn how to meditate. We're all stuck at home anyway. You've got to do something with those thoughts. But today we're going to be talking about adding in some reading into the day.
Absolutely. And it's exciting because it's something that's really changed my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
You and me both went from being the typical. I mean, you were probably worse than me. You had the biggest roadblocks up against reading. I remember you used to just, when anyone ever said to you should read this book, you used to say, I can't read. I get through like one or two pages and I just can't read, and it just goes out one ear, in one ear, and or in my eyes and out my ears, And I remember seeing people's faces when you used to say that, and they used to just go, oh yeah, whatever. But I was the same. I used to just say, I can't read. I'd go through 3 pages and then I realized that I was thinking about something else and I got to go back and read it again. And one day we decided to pay somebody a lot of money that knew a lot more than us. And when you're paying someone for their advice and they give it to you, you tend to listen, don't they? And they basically just looked at us and said, you're either going to do it or you're not. Make a decision. Either level up and... One
of the things is that through adversity and challenge comes opportunity, and it was one of our worst periods where at that point in our time we'd been basically knocked down, and we were almost out with financial hardship in the business. And it was kind of like sink or swim, It was either we level up and become the business owners that we needed to be, or we wind it up and go back and get jobs somewhere else, And that was we got to a point where there was just so much we didn't know, and it became abundantly clear.
It was desperation.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
And there's certain words out there that people have a negative, they have a negative connotation to it. Like when you say it, people think, oh, that's a really negative word. And 2 words that I'm really proud to say that I either am or have been is obsessed and desperate.
Yeah.
And those are 2 words that a lot of people always, oh, he's an obsessive person, he's really bad. And I think, fuck you. That's exactly what we need if you want to get good at something. Like, there's nobody that's really, really good at what they do that isn't obsessed with what they do. And desperation, if you act on it and you use it to fuel you, can be a very powerful place to come from.
Absolutely. Well, this is the thing. Challenge breeds opportunity, and the obstacle is the way. I want to frame this because I think this is the most important thing that people get out of today's show on a macro level is that we all have stories, we all have reasons why we do and don't do things. And my story around reading was that I was an artist, and I used to say to myself and everyone else that I'm a visual person. I get more from visual stimulation. So I much prefer to watch movies, to watch television, to, like even reading a comic book I found difficult, like literally. And I used to paint and draw comics and things like that. And my ambition at a young age was to become a famous comic artist or something like that, I just created this story over years and years and years of reinforcing the same thing to myself, which was that I couldn't read books because I was a visual person and I needed visual stimulation to keep me entertained. And it wasn't until I was 30 years old. I read my first book at 30 years old, so I'm 40 now. I've only been reading books for 10 years. I tried to read a few books before I was 30, but I was about 30 years old. And I ended up, it was in 2015, which was only 5 years ago, right? So where are we now, 2020? Yeah, it was 2015 that I worked with this this guy, Kerwin Ray. I'll give him a shout out, and was part of his K2 coaching group. And he just really called me out on my shit. And Rad and I were. It was desperate times. We'd been hit with a huge.
We've had a couple of good coaches. We should also give a shout out to Sean Greeley, because Sean is definitely somebody that called us out on our shit a lot as well, and got us to that next level.
Yeah, absolutely.
We
we worked with Sean for 6 years, I think.
Yeah. I think it was 5.
Yeah, 5 years, and Kerwin for a year, and look, I've had lots of mentors and business coaches, but these two guys had a lasting impact on us. And
they were the ones we worked the closest with.
Yeah, that's right.
They were the ones that we chose to spend our money with, and they were the ones that had that we really, they slapped us into line and got us to, level up.
And that was the reality. The reality hit that our business was failing 5 years ago because we weren't good enough. We thought we were king shit, and we thought that we knew everything that we needed to know, but we were good personal trainers. We were woeful business operators and leaders, and we were failing miserably. And it came time to learn what we didn't know, to take us out of that rut that we were in. And it was bad, man. I'm talking being broke, living dollar to dollar. The business was hemorrhaging about $10,000 a month. We were losing about $10,000 a month. We couldn't pay our taxes, and we got into trouble. And then in the midst of all of that, with cash flow issues, the ATO decided to hit us with a $300,000 tax bill for unpaid taxes for stuff that had happened years and years ago with contractors that I had working for me. And it was like we were against the ropes, and then we got a king hit to the jaw, and we were knocked out. Yep. And at that point, I remember it really clearly. I reached out to Kerwin, and he was actually traveling. He was on a flight, or he was just about to board a flight from, I think, Brisbane to Sydney or something like that. And he said, "Yeah, look, I've got, help me out." And I can talk. And he just basically strategized a whole strategy from the time that he was checking his luggage in to getting on a flight. And that's the kind of guy he is. He's just incredible. And he got me a meeting with a better accountant, and got me in with a much better team. And surprisingly is the same accounting firm that Sean uses when he's out here in Australia. And we just leveled up. From that point on, and from that point on, we got called out on our shit, and we started. The big difference was we identified that we just didn't know enough, and we started reading books. And it was like, from that point on, every single book that I read, every chapter of a book that I read, every book was recommended by one of these two guys. And I didn't go out looking for books. I didn't ask people. I only asked the two people I trusted the most. And that's something really important, because there's a lot of books out there, but what you need to do is align yourself with people that you truly trust, that understand where you're at in your life, and then follow their direction.
Well, that's really, really important. And I don't want you to skip over that, because I think where a lot of people go wrong is they ask people for advice that have never done what they're trying to do.
Yep.
So if you're asking for financial advice, you don't ask a broke person. If you're asking for fitness advice, you don't ask somebody that's overweight.
Yep.
So you have to be very, very careful on looking on which books you read based on looking at the results that the person that you're speaking to has achieved. So yeah, that's a really important thing. And
There's a funny. I'm sorry, just on that. I met a guy called T. Harv Eker who's published a book called The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind that I loved. Great book. That
I think I've read it 3 times.
Yeah, I read it once every year just to get my mindset rejigged and reset around finances. But I actually met Harv at a conference that he put on, which was, it was like a Tony Robbins sort of experience. There was thousands of people there, and he said something really poignant. And he said, the moment that I engage a financial advisor or a financial planner, if they won't show me their bank account on that day, I don't even consider them. And if they don't have 10 times the amount of money that I've got in mine, I don't consider them. And I think that's like...
Yeah, that's huge. It's huge.
Why would you employ a financial advisor or planner if they're broke?
Yep.
And that's the case with most of them. You know?
So let's get into the specifics now. So we've told you the backstory as to why we do this. Now, the best way that we found, okay, I won't speak for Yanni, I'll speak for myself. The best way that I found to be able to bring this daily reading into your life is to do it in the morning as part of the morning ritual. That was the turning point for me. It was when I made a decision to create this morning ritual. So the second part to your 30-day UMS ritual challenge is to add in either 10 pages of reading or 10 minutes of an audiobook. Now, for me, 10 pages of reading when I was starting this whole process, it sometimes took me 20 minutes. It was quite a while. It took me, because I was a slow reader and I had to go back over it and over it again. But now I can do it much quicker, or I listen to an audiobook on like 1.5 times speed or something like that and get quite a bit done. So what we want you to add to your morning routine now is what we've already got, and for those of you that haven't jumped on this yet, jump on now, and you'll just start your 30 days from now. The first thing we've got is 10 minutes of meditation, a guided meditation from the Waking Up app. This is before you've had your coffee.
First thing in the morning.
First thing in the morning, you're still in your pajamas. You can have some water, you can brush your teeth, you can splash water on your face, go to the toilet, but that's pretty much it.
I actually have a cold shower before I do my meditation because I really want to be well and truly awake. When I do it.
I actually do mine when I get to the gym, but what that means is that I get up. This is literally my morning. I get up, creep out because I've got a family, go to the toilet, get dressed, walk out the door. That's it. And then when I get to the gym, I put my stuff down, sit down and do my meditation. Because
and what time do you get up, just for everyone listening?
4:30 in the morning.
Yep.
And I don't have to teach my first class until 6. That's when we've got the gym operating. Now that we don't have the gym operating and the only commitment I've got is to do a session at 7 a.m., I still get up at 5 and get to the gym at about 5:30. And I do that because this morning routine is so much more valuable to me than sleeping in until 6 a.m. And I could so easily do that. I could so easily sleep until 6 and still get here at 6:30, but I value this more. So anyway, so you've done your morning meditation. You're going to finish the meditation, come out of it, and you're going to pick up this book or put in your headphones and listen to 10 minutes of the audiobook or read 10 pages. Why this book? Because it's everything about what we've just spoken about. It is extreme ownership. It is taking ownership for your situation and learning how to master your life. So get that book.
Now, guys, I'm going to call a lot of you out on some bullshit now. A lot of people that I've suggested to read this book in the past, and I know there'll be a few amongst you now, will have a story play out in your head that you're not interested in reading that book because it's written by 2 US Navy SEALs. And for whatever reason, you've got a dogma around the military or around the US Navy SEALs or the US military, whatever it may be. I'm calling you out on your bullshit. It's a fucking story and it's bullshit because you're getting shown an opportunity to level up here, and the only thing that will prevent you from taking action on that is your ego and your dogmas. And if you are allowing your ego and your dogmas to control your behaviors, then you've already lost. You've already lost the battle to becoming excellent and to leveling up.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but that's something that we were taught and it's a hard lesson to learn. I'm not going to say it was easy for us to take as well. We've got the egos the size of a freaking freight train, and it's tough when your ego gets slapped about a little bit, Yep. But I'm telling you right now, irrespective of what your personal opinions are on the military and things like that, This and the messages in this book are phenomenal and will help you in everything you do in life.
And I actually really hate the military and America's involvement around the world. And, you know, honest to God, I love you to all of our American listeners. I've got nothing against Americans at all. Love Americans, love everybody. But I do have issues with war. And so I'm just letting you know that I've got my own stories around this. And they came up for me when I was recommended to listen to this book, but I put it aside. And I served in the army. And I didn't do it because I'm a pro-war person at all. I'm a big pacifist. I did martial arts for 13 years and I've never punched anybody ever. I just don't believe in it. It's not a solution for me. So if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway,
Absolutely.
let's move on, yeah, because we've got a lot of other good stuff
Yep,
to talk about.
yep.
So this is what we want you to get on it,
Guys, this is not optional. This is not optional. This is an absolutely essential part of growth, of personal development, is to learn from other people. And the easiest and most cost-effective way of doing that is through a daily literary commitment. 10 pages a day. It will eventually only take you under half an hour.
If you do that, mate, it'll take you most people less than that. If you do that, you're going to read this entire book in less than a month.
Yeah.
That's
right.
less than 300 pages in there. I just had a look at 286 was right at the end. So listen, I want to say this. I'm going to say this right now because I know that a lot of you are watching this right now and going, oh yeah, that'd be nice, and you're not doing anything about it. There's two kinds of people in this group. There's people that are going to do exactly that, and you're going to come out of this self-isolation phase, and you won't be exactly where you are. You'll probably be worse off than where you are now. Because if you haven't done anything to level yourself up during this time, if all you've done is watch things like this and kind of smile and say, oh yeah, that'd be nice, then by the time you get out of this, it's not going to be that easy to integrate back into the world if you're just sitting where you are. Then there's going to be the other kinds of people who are doing...
Sorry, I have to cut you off there. Not just hard to integrate into the world that it was before. It's going to be more competitive than ever. There's going to be more unemployment than any of us have ever seen in our lifetime. It's going to be so competitive. Businesses and talent pools are going to be cheaper. So businesses are going to have a larger selection of talent at a cheaper rate because of the rate of unemployment. So, you know, to think that you're going to just plug back into your daily life before, you're delusional.
And even if you've still got your job, like we've got members that had their job that said, we're going to support you right through this, and a week later they call us up and say, I just lost my job.
Yeah, or they've had to take a big pay cut.
A pay cut. Like this is rapidly changing. So whether you're employed or unemployed, you need to be the best candidate for what you do. So be in that second category. Be the person that says, I'm going to do this. I have access to these two guys that have gone through this, decade of self-development and are giving away all these secrets for free, things that we paid literally hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn. We're giving it to you. Do it. Act on it. Do it. This is only the second part of this 30-day challenge, and we're going to build on this every week. So this is part 2, okay?
Yep.
All right, let's move on to some Q&A. I think Josh has asked a question there. Joshua, is that Josh?
Jerome?
So I can't read it from here.
Oh, Jerome Cliche.
Okay, what's he asked?
Cliche, done the first one, have a long way to go. I think he's just referring to...
Oh, he might be referring to the meditation.
Or the workout.
Yeah. Let us know, man. Let us know, brother. Sorry we didn't get to your question earlier. We were just quite passionate about what we were talking about before. Let us know what you're talking about there, bro, so we can answer that question a bit better or respond better. So we've got 3 really good questions here from our UMS online coaching group. For those of you that are a part of this group that haven't been here for long, the UMS online coaching group is for those members that are subscribed to our Unify Movement System online coaching program. It's the program where they get access to everything that we do, but on top of that, they get the Strength and Flexibility Essentials guide, which is really how to put all of this stuff together. And we answer their questions always on this show whenever people ask a question. So here we go. We got Andrew Knoll, who has asked, hey, so I have been doing rope climbs recently and developed golfer's elbow. If you don't know what that is, it's tendinopathy on the inside of your forearm here, usually felt around there and down near the elbow. Really, really bad when you grip and try and pull things towards you like this. I watched the golfer's elbow rehab videos and have been doing the exercises. My question is, once I get back to 100%, are there any exercises you recommend to better prepare my tendons for rope climbs? I mean this with all sincerity. I believe that I'm an expert on this. Short of being a physiotherapist, I believe that I know about as much as a trainer could know about this because I've dealt with it myself. So is Yanni, so is Richard. And we've got Phil, the legend, who sits with us every day that I've been able to pick his brain about how to deal with this.
And he's extremely passionate about
tendinopathy.
Yeah.
And my answer to this...
Is it?
Tendinopathy.
Yeah.
He keeps pulling us up for
Yeah.
tendinitis.
Phil, I hope you're watching.
My answer for this is very different than it would have been 12 months ago. So to say, are there any exercises you recommend to better prepare my tendons for rope climbs? If you asked me 12 months ago, I would have told you a whole bunch of things. Now I would say it's a much simpler solution that isn't so much about this exercise or that exercise. It all comes from this concept that when you develop strength, there's three real big adaptations that happens. The first is that the nervous system becomes stronger, so your body can recruit bigger motor units that actuate more muscle fibers. That's the first thing that goes on. The second thing that happens is that the muscles themselves hypertrophy and become stronger and thicker. The last thing that happens is that the tendons and the connective tissue become stronger. Now, the first stage happens after about 30 days, the second stage happens after about 90 days, and the third stage, the tendons, happens after about 2 years. Now, this obviously continues for, however many decades you're training. But if you think about that, what happens is, if you try to do pull-ups and you can barely do one, then let's say if you train really, really well and you're doing a great program like the Muscle Up Masterclass, that after 90 days you can now do 5 or 6 pull-ups. The changes that have happened in that 90 days have only occurred in your nervous system and the actual muscle fibers. The tendons haven't gone through any growth. So the tendons are still really small and they're now getting hammered by a load that they can't do. So the answer is less about which exercises should I be doing and more about
load management.
Well, load management, but I think I love this analogy that I've got for you. Your muscles and your nervous system can do 6 pull-ups in the example I gave. Your tendons can only handle 1. So the idea is that you need to be training in a way that is right for the tendons, not what's right for the muscles and the nervous system, which means you're going to be doing exercises or sets and rep ranges that are going to feel like you could have done 5 times as much. And you need to do that for a long time. You need to do that for about 12 to 24 months. And I've successfully gone through this process, and it was the biggest ego hit because I was well on my way to doing a 1-arm pull-up, and I had to completely stop all of that. But my body is in such a good place now because I went through that.
This is the biggest thing about physical training, guys, load management. We bang this drum on a daily basis down here at Unity Gym, and a lot of times people come in with an ego that's set for a certain type of feeling, and we don't deliver it, and they don't like what we do because we're trying to teach them that their body, although they may feel like they can do a certain movement for a certain amount of reps at a certain intensity or weight, the deeper structures, on a superficial level, they seem capable. But on the deep level, they're absolutely incapable. And it's the reason for most injuries, and it's a real problem. It's a problem that people aren't addressing, and it's something that we are very proud that we do push and address here at Unity Gym. And it's never easy to be told that you can't or shouldn't do something, especially when you think you can or believe that you can. And it's not that we're discouraging people from trying, but we just want to educate people that training is not just about doing one thing. It's not just about doing that movement, unlocking the next progression. It's about managing the process. It's about the process.
Yeah.
And the process requires load management at a much higher level than most people are giving it credit for.
And if you're smart, what the process is continually about is identifying your weak link and then strengthening the weak link.
Yeah.
So what you've done, Andrew, is you've identified that the tendons in your forearm are the weak link in your gripping and your pulling capability. Not the bicep, not the lat, not the deltoid. It's the tendons in the forearm that are the weak link, which means you train a load that is good for those tendons, which is far less than the bicep, deltoids, and lats and, rhomboids and traps can handle. Yeah.
Saying all that, we've found that you get really good results including some supination and pronation.
Well, I was going to go a bit deeper than that. What we've found, there are a couple of exercises that will help. For golfer's elbow, what usually works is forearm flexion like this, so wrist flexion like this. And you always do agonist and antagonist, which means it doesn't matter if you're trying to fix that problem, you do flexion and then you also do extension.
Yep.
And then for tennis elbow, what helps is the training supination. So the supinator muscles are what really help, because tennis elbow is actually more to do with the muscles that control the elbow, whereas golfer's elbow is more to do with the muscles that control the wrist. So pronation and supination, guess what? It's all in the Foundations program.
Yeah,
they're all there. There's nothing that you don't already know. It's in phase 1, 2, and 3 of the Foundations program. We also have radial and ulnar deviation, just so that we train all of the different movements of the elbow.
And don't be disheartened, my friend. It's so common that people blow out the medial and lateral epicondyle tendons, which is where that tennis elbow and golfer's elbow generally originates from. So common that we put it as a staple in our Foundations program as part of the preparation. And unfortunately, we don't force it upon people to do the Foundations program anymore, but that's kind of changing. We're rebuilding our online structure so that as you come in, you're going to fill out a questionnaire, a very brief little questionnaire about your current physical capability, and then it's going to point you in the right direction of where to start, which we're quite excited about. It's part of the process. I was pointing at I've got a huge whiteboard on the wall here that we've mapped out this client experience map. Anyway.
So Andrew, that's a really good explanation there of how to deal with what you're going through. If you've got any more questions, let us know. Craig Jenkins has asked, hey Rad and Yanni, I've been busy prepping at home for the family and also never been around for the lives, but have been doing the at-home workouts. Awesome to hear. I use the warm-up and strength/flexibility section at the beginning, then do my strength testing daily exercises. I think what you're meaning there is that the exercises that your strength testing has shown you need to do. Then later in the day, I'll do the cardio section, so it's been really good. So thanks for the daily workouts. It's been awesome. Now I'm up on site. They're great too. They shut the gym up here, which was pretty gutting, as I was just about to get into the next progressions mesocycle. But I do have gym gear at home in the shed. What do you recommend I do between home and the site? So I'm guessing that you work away from home. That's I think that's what you're saying here, Craig. Can I do the progressions program at home and then the at-home workouts on site, or will that be too chopping and changing? I still want to keep moving forward with the progression program, pushing weight and doing scap back work, which I can do whilst I'm home. You absolutely can do that. What you've got to understand is there are so many different ways to write a periodized program, and there's ways to write a periodized program where people do completely different things from week to week. There's also ways to write a periodized program where people do completely different things from day to day. As in, what are you laughing at?
Richie's just playing around with some new lower thirds that our videographers have created for him. You figured it out, mate?
Yeah, I put Phil's name up though.
Oh, really?
Oh, Phil, he got a shout out. He wasn't even on the show.
There you go. He's here in spirit.
So you've got to understand, Craig, that we've been dealt these cards. We're in this situation where there's lockdowns and gyms are closed and everything. And you absolutely just have to do the best that you can do. So if that means that when you're home, you get to do the full proper UMS workout, and then when you're away, you do these at-home workouts that we're doing, absolutely. That's a great way to do it. You'll get great results doing it. It's all about consistency. It's all about load management. And what I mean by that is, in your case, is you may find that you need to do unplanned deloads. This is really important for anyone to hear. So if you've tuned out, listen to what I'm about to say now. We have planned deload weeks, and the planned deload is if everything goes well. Sometimes you'll start a week and you'll realize that your body is sore and you are weaker than you were the week before. Like you normally do 5 sets of 6 to 8 pull-ups, but now this week you did your first set and you could barely do 4 or 5. You are now in a state of overtraining and you need to do an unplanned deload week. Otherwise, you can hurt yourself. And also, you've stopped making gains. The supercompensation effect actually happens when you deload anyway. So you're in a state of overtraining. The body's saying, okay, I need a deload week now, an unplanned deload week. And you might find that happens doing what you're doing. a little bit more than you expected. I found that, and I had to do that towards the end of last week. Towards the end of last week, I had my plan of what I was going to do, and I was like, wow, my body's really sore, and I had to have an unplanned deload second half of the week. So hope that helps.
Yep. Yeah.
And our last question today is from Adam Meliani. He's saying, just finished Thursday's at-home workout and did the 18-minute routine. Well, it took me 40 minutes, not the 18 minutes. But was obsessed of how good the stretches were. Never done anything like that before. I'm guessing that you must have just bought the program, brother, so that's awesome. I have just been realizing lately how severely poor my overhead mobility is, and I think rotator cuffs too. Like, it's awful. I think it's genetics, to be honest. I remember I answered this question for you. Don't blame genetics. Don't go down that path. And you already responded to that, so I know that you're taking some extreme ownership for your situation. I thought my back squat was poor by something having to do with my legs, but it's definitely my mobility in the upper body. Should I implement exercises from the overhead mobility YouTube video into my squatting routine? And also, is it safe to do a stretching routine not warmed up? Because I want to start doing it every morning when I wake up. Yes, you can absolutely do the 18-minute stretching routine when you're stone cold. We used to do it as the warm-up. We started immediately with that, so you can do that. The only thing I'd recommend is just do 60 seconds of horizontal running, or 60 seconds to 2 minutes where you really like that you'll get a better result from that.
Yep.
And then the other thing is, yeah, man, if you've identified, a lot of people, that's another piece of humble pie that a lot of people find when they start with us, is realizing how bad their overhead mobility is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And look, to give you just a little bit of that, I actually have what is referred to by physiotherapists as a hooked acromion, which essentially says that I should be more rounded than the average person in the shoulders with a limited overhead mobility, but I've worked extremely hard to improve my flexibility, and I have zero problems now. I learnt the hard way. I beat up my shoulders for many years trying to be a bodybuilder and then almost an Olympic weightlifter and all sorts of things like that. But, I only found out much later on after getting an MRI after an injury to my shoulder that I had this hooked acromion genetic disposition that really a layman doctor or physio would have said, oh, you shouldn't be doing overhead stuff, But what a crock of shit. It's just, you just got to work around your own physical limitations. That's why I love strength training so much. It's a process of self-discovery and adaptation. You adapt, you force your body to adapt, and you also sometimes have to adapt movements to your body.
And identifying your weak links, and then working on them.
Beat that drum. Weak links.
All right, that's all we got time for today, everyone. We're going to be hitting you up again tomorrow with our Wednesday workout at 7 a.m. Sydney time. We are now in standard time, not daylight savings. So for the rest of you in the world, it's probably an hour earlier than you've been used to. And then our live show again at 8:30 tomorrow. So.
Yeah, that's right. Guys, jump in and comment where you're watching from. We like to know that we're actually talking to humans and not a camera. So if you do catch the stream live, or if you just watch the replay, please comment and say yes, or who it is and where you are from.
That stream is looking good now, isn't it?
How good's the stream looking? Yeah. How good's Richie's little lower thirds and all that stuff that are coming in? They look nice. I'm liking it. I'm liking where this is going. We're going to continue leveling up. All right, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
See you soon. Health is about performance, not just body image.
You better be willing to accept what you're going to have to do to get there.
We'll start focusing on movement goals, strength goals, flexibility goals.
When you nail that skill, that's there forever.
The body image goal doesn't get you that far.
It's the consistency and frequency that's going to get you there. It's not the intensity.
There's no shortcuts to mastery and movement. Destination doesn't change overnight, but your direction will.
The gym is not the place to beat up the body that you hate. It's the place to build the body that you love.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.